welcome back. I'm Michael Sandler, your host on Inspire Nation, along with
CJ Lou from the Fire It Up with CJ show, and I'm spraying Sacred Space spray because I
I
think
love
we
it.
need it.
I love Sacred Space.
Yes.
If you've ever wanted to radically transform your life, then do we have the magical morning show for busy spiritual seekers? Magical
Woohoo!
morning for busy spiritual seekers show for you. Today we'll talk about creating a magical morning routine, why you want to do it, how to do it, the kind and gentle way to get started, and why shifting your morning can truly transform your life. That plus we'll talk about Smoky Mountains. Special offer on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. My will be thy will. What goes in must come out. This is not sounding good. Reciprocity. Why my needs matter too. The Body Diva. Personal records. Smoke, smoke. Where's the smoke? Joint morning meditations. The return of smoothie season. A super cold CJ. Magic 40. And what in the world vapor caves have to do with anything.
Oh
Oh
my
my.
goodness!
So welcome
Wow.
back to the show, CJ. In 45 minutes or less, are you ready to
I
shine?
am ready to shine. Woo!
So why are you so cold, CJ? It's the middle of the summer now.
I have no idea. Just sat out in the sun trying to warm up before this. Like my fingers are freezing. I almost, when you're so cold that you want to wrap a blanket around you. That's how I feel. I actually have the heater in my house going because I'm so cold. I have no idea what's going on. Don't know. Don't
We
know.
we last night we went for a Native American ceremony in
Mm.
some caves, the caves you see behind me, which are
Wow.
deeper caves in Glenwood Springs, super hot, steamy mineral bath
Mm.
water. It's the hot springs. Glenwood Springs is famous for their hot springs, Glenwood Springs, Colorado. This is under Glenwood Springs, and it's a cavern that the Ute Indians have been using for sacred ceremonies, perhaps for several thousand years. And we
Mm.
participated in a Ute Indian ceremony in there last night. And that was as cold as you are. That was the exact opposite of that, CJ.
One's hot, one's cold. So we've got a yin yang scenario. So I don't understand. So it's kind of like being in a steam sauna then.
It's like being in a steam sauna, somewhere between 115, 125 degrees is the estimate. And you're in there for a couple hours of Native Americans singing and drumming and chanting.
Wow.
It was the kind, gentle, easy, good version. So they broke it into quarters they did the first two quarters before they paused so people could take a break and get a little bit cooler. Then they paused after the third quarter and then finished up after the fourth quarter so that people who weren't used to it, because a traditional, from what I understand, a true traditional sweat lodge, you would stay the whole way through, kind of muscle your way through. That's when you get visions, things of that sort. But they didn't want to push it with newbies
Right.
on there and have people, passing out in the caves. So, but it got beautifully, outrageously hot. The drumming in this cave with paintings on, like almost like ancient Anasazi paintings on the wall. It was
Mm.
phenomenal. And you left. Um, I didn't have a transcendent experience during it, but I left with such incredible peace.
Mm.
I just felt an from that experience. And to me, there's something so special about hearing the drums and hearing the Native American chants and connecting. The elders are around us, and even no matter what your belief system is, there's something or someone in and around all of us. That's my belief. And I believe the elders are always there watching after us and guiding us. And when you're with the drums, as you are with the drums often, they're there by your side. And it just
Mm.
felt so incredibly special.
Mm. So, when did what day did you do that?
Approximately 16 hours ago.
Oh my
Last
gosh.
night.
Wow. So things are still unfolding for you then. Are you still feeling hot or what else has kind of shifted or come up for you?
Nothing particularly unusual. So we shifted yesterday to going to smoothies here. It's been really hot, and I'll talk about the smoke in a minute. And so I did just have a little bit of a smoothie right before this. But after most ceremonies, I like to say integration is a boop. It's hard to integrate afterwards. This one so far, it was kind of the kind and gentle. You get what I'm saying, CJ.
I just had one of those moments, so I'll tell you about it after you tell me about yours.
So
Wow.
it's been really, really, really peaceful. Now I haven't had a time to fully process, but it has been such a special week of watching most beautiful way, all the synchronicity of guests, culminating with Dawson Church just an hour ago on Mind to Matter.
Mm.
Amazing, amazing book, and you've got to have them on, CJ. Um, Talking about really focusing on your thoughts, getting an idea, realizing how important your words are, your thoughts are, and starting the day with an energetic imprint that carries through in everything that you do has just made this such a special week. And like I went out yesterday, I guess it was before the ceremony, and I had a skating session to do. And it's been such a week of focusing on my thoughts, learning about my thoughts, watching my thoughts, that I said, look, you cannot push it to the max right now. If you raise your body temperature too much and then you go into a vapor cave, you're going to go like kakunk.
Right.
And so I went out and I've been trying to work on my form and just visualizing what this form looks like of me super low, like a speed skater in the Olympics, pushing each leg out to the side, getting lower, getting lower, getting lower. And I've just been so watching my thoughts and my words that I coached myself verbally out loud. Would have looked like a nutter if anybody had kept up with me yesterday on the bike path as I'm saying, get low. You're doing great. I love you. You're doing great. This is beautiful. Beautiful. Watch yourself doing great. I love you. Just in this beautiful flow state. And I shattered my previous personal record.
Wow. Wait a second. That's cool.
But without going my hardest.
Right.
It was all of these techniques of focus, of visualization, of words become matter. What you say has a direct effect on everything. And that's been the big theme this week.
Mm.
And it's just manifesting beautiful stuff. So what's going to come after last night or from last night? I have no idea. We'll see how the weekend unfolds. But I'm in a beautiful place of really understanding my energy better to a whole new level, I think, in this comprehension of, I hold up a thing of water right here. Water obviously imprints energy,
Mm-hmm.
different, it'll take on love, it'll take on fear, it'll take on hate, it'll take on altruism, and realizing I'm a big, beautiful, loving bag of water. And so if I really grasp that and understand how important it is to change my energy state, to watch my energy state, to watch what I'm saying, how I'm acting, not suppressing, never, never, never suppress. But it's just been another powerful shift. And I imagine something will come out of ceremony too, but I'm still basking, and I guess basking in the overglow of living this week this way.
Sounds really. Just the word that just keeps on coming in my head is juicy. It's just juicy. You know what I mean? Like it's just like like where I'm imagining you being boiled in in this beautiful cave and just allowing like stuff to the smoke to let go of whatever it is and just having it let go and then having you kind of walk out of there renewed and focused and clear and with a sense of renewed purpose. It sounds very, very cool. I have a question that I'm wondering about. So you said that you're starting this new morning program, which is woohoo! So you're starting this new morning program. How did all these experiences? How do you think that's going to flow into your morning program, or had it already?
It had already. So actually, what we're doing is in January we released our automatic writing program. And
Mm-hmm.
that's been tremendously successful. We made a magical morning program based on what we're learning, and was close to releasing that before we moved. Moves tend to put a halt, a kibosh on everything temporarily. So we went back to it, and we've learned so much more in these last few months. We added a whole bunch of extra stuff to it, and we've just released. So when people hear this, we're still going to be in our release sale, I think, for the next 3 days. Literally, as I'm speaking to you, we've just released it today, the Magical Morning Routine. And it is a process of getting yourself up and setting an energetic imprint in your heart and to the world that then carries throughout the day. And that's what we're living now. And when you shift your energy first thing in the morning, rather than, oh God, I've got another day and I'm supposed to meditate now and I got to get to work. Instead, you get out of bed, you're in a state of heart coherence, you're in a state of love, you're in a state of gratitude and appreciation. For me, I'm in a state of woohoo, although quietly if Jessica's still sleeping. And you start from that state. More magic comes, more synchronicity comes, more positive conversations. You don't have to do anything. Certainly, what we're teaching people is a way to be proactive. I joke, I call it a way so that you can ride the day rather than the day riding you.
Right.
But when you change that energetic state, and that's what this week in particular has been living it to the max. It's been guest after guest talking about this book after book. So it's been our lives. It's what we're teaching. But then all of a sudden, it was like come to this crescendo of really understanding thoughts and words are things. Every microtubule in your brain can completely change in 10 minutes by changing your thinking. What holds your brain cells together can completely change in 10 minutes. You can increase your brain size in a particular part, not like your whole frontal lobe. By focusing your thoughts, you can increase it by 25% in 1 hour.
Wow. Where'd you hear that from, Dawson?
Dr. Dawson Church. The things you can do to radically transform your mind and then for your mind to transform your life just from your thoughts and words is so powerful. We're living in our dream home. All of that came out of the mind. All of that came out of an energetic state, came out of manifestation work, which was going into the essence, setting an energetic print, getting up each morning and going, I know it sounds crazy, but we're moving to Aspen next month. Woohoo! And I'd be like, yeah, we're moving in 3 weeks. Don't know where, but it's gonna work out. It's all about the energy, and we're getting clearer on that and clearer on that, and we're manifesting more and we're manifesting more and we're attracting more and we're living more in that magic. And you know, I'm having a PR in the Skates. I had a PR earlier this week on the bicycle, and all of these really cool things are taking place by watching the energy.
Very cool. That's very, very cool. I have kind of a equivalent experience on a completely, I guess, on the cold side. I don't even know how to describe this.
The other side of the coin.
I'm actually turning more and more into air. Pretty soon, I'm just going to float like a balloon up into the sky and evaporate. Seriously, I'm that full of energy. Because
we need to ground you somehow then.
No, I feel okay. Like, I think I'm okay. I don't know. So Friday, I get a phone call from someone who said, hey, you've got to try this heartfulness meditation. And I thought, okay. Have you talked to Kamel Patel yet? Kamlesh
No,
Patel.
I know we're going to have Howard Martin back on the show soon talking about heart math, but no, tell me more.
Okay, so she said, you got to try it out. And I said, okay. So I talked to Kamlesh, and well, I actually, first of all, the interview with Kamlesh was just like here, there, all over the place. We're going to have it. We're not going to have it. He's coming to the U.S. He's not coming to the U.S. And I was like, okay, whatever. I just flow with whatever happens. I love Beth. I will just make whatever happen. And then she said, I really want you to experience this meditation. So I said, okay. And then I text this guy. It's ridiculous. I'm driving back from a client meeting, and I'm texting Joshua. He's texting me, and he's like, I'm driving back. And I'm thinking neither of us should be texting each other while we're driving back. But alas, here we are in this modern world. Okay, so
Everyone, step away from your cell phone if you're driving.
exactly.
Please,
So,
please,
well,
please.
the cars were stopped, practically stopped. Anyhow, I got back and Joshua gives me this meditation, and I've had like the most hellacious week where I felt like my whole brain was just getting scrambled like eggs. Just so then like my meditations had been awful, just awful. My thoughts all over the place. So I was really looking forward to this meditation. So I sat down with Joshua, and it was like sparkling, like just sparkles all over. Woo! Sparkles, sparkles. And I was like, wow, puppy dogs, unicorns, love, sparkling glitter and
Rainbows,
yeah, rainbows. It's that guy kind of thing. And I was
Care
like,
Bears.
yeah, like, wow, that's real Care Bears. Yeah, something like that. I was like, wow, that whatever that is works. Okay, then I'm talking to him. He's like, hey, I'm in Seattle. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, I'm going to be going to Amazon and Microsoft and all these companies. And I said, oh, well, I'm going to put you in touch with some friends of mine who are at Amazon who are working with the group, and maybe your group stuff should combine. So my friends go and check him out, and then so he happens to be in Seattle at the. I mean, what are the odds? He happens to be in Seattle at the same time. I try to go to the East West bookstore, and I just, from a series of just miscalculations and forgetfulness, I forget to go to this East West bookstore event where he is coming like right, like 2 blocks from my house. And then on Monday, I interview, or Tuesday morning, I interview Kamlesh, and I say, okay, well, and he's like, you should talk to Joshua and have him do a total of 3 of these meditations with you, and then we should talk later. I'm like, okay. So, so
I
then
love flow.
it's just so, I mean, the whole thing, like Friday afternoon, just dropping everything and having this meditation in the middle of Friday. Oh, and then on Sunday, I had a kirtan. It's pronounced kirtan, not
Mhm.
kirtan or whatever. And so we had the 6 people in our house. We had one guy who is kind of this free flow kirtan, and another one who's like more structured call and response. So it's, I think, 5 of us in there, and it was just heavenly, just singing. Like I could feel, like I wasn't singing anymore, like the sound was coming through me, and I was just one with something. I don't even know what it was, but I was just feeling so elated, and my heart was just so, what a huge contrast to that Thursday prior. So then it's basically like this rolling, rolling snowball. Friday, then Sunday have this thing. And then Monday I talked to Kamlesh, and he says, go talk to Joshua. So I was like, okay, Joshua, Kamlesh wants me to talk to you 2 more times. And he said, okay, how about if I come over to your house for dinner, or like around 7:30? I said, great. Why don't you and he's like, oh, and by the way, I'm doing a YouTube recording with some people in Portland. And I said, well, great, I have a setup. So why don't you come here and we'll all record this? Then I invite my friends. So I had these guys from Amazon. We're all crammed in my basement, and we're meditating.
Oh, I love it.
Oh my gosh. And then I'm super distracted because there's just all these like all over the place. And then that's Tuesday. And then that Tuesday night, all these emotions bubble up. It's like he's basically, this technique is kind of cleansing your heart and your heart chakra so that it's clean and cleansed. That's, I think, what Kamlesh is doing and what Joshua was doing. And so he was cleansing, and then I reached a certain point where it was like all hell broke loose, where I thought, you know what, I'm realizing that, Gideon, you don't give me what I need in the marriage. It's just like this large pronouncement. It's like, my needs matter. I'm always the one, so I have this long, like, hurt feeling that has been embedded deep in my heart that just kind of comes out like an explosion. Pow-pow! And then he also has commensurately his own emotional explosion. So we have this, like, nuclear blast that goes off in our family. Pow-pow! So that happens on Tuesday. Then we meet each other online on Wednesday, and then I meet with Joshua on Thursday, and things calm way down, way down. And then Kamlesh says, because he's very much of a go with the flow kind of guy, like he's being channeling divine wisdom, I think. And so he said during the interview, on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 7:30 to 8, let's all meditate. I will do my energetic transmission. You have to sit at your house at any time that you want. I mean, 7:30 to 8. It's like in your time zone, 7:30 and 8. So Beth, our dear friend, was at 7:30 to 8 in East Coast Standard Time. You would be in Mountain 7:30 to 8, and I would be in Pacific Coast Standard Time. And so I did this morning, and it was like fireworks. Pow, 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 you know. It's just so much energy. I feel like it was the rotor of energy. So I'm telling you so that you at 7:30 to 8 tomorrow morning can meditate, and all you have to do is focus on your heart, which I'm sure is easy for you. So at 7:30 to 8, focus on your heart, and then meditate and see what happens to you. I felt a huge amount of change, and then right afterwards, I did this book. Have you interviewed this gal, Mary Schutan?
I have not yet.
Okay, so I interviewed her,
and a quick question, which is we usually meditate at 6. In fact, it's a topic that might come up here.
Yeah.
So 6 would be 8 East Coast time. So if we did 5:30 to 6 East Coast time, would that work?
I don't think so. You're supposed to do it in
you're
supposed to do it in your time zone, 7:30 to 8. So just as an experiment.
Do what I can. Do what I can.
Yeah.
Okay.
At 7:30 to 8, just try it. Maybe something will happen. Like my husband's like, nothing happened. And I was like, okay. And then meanwhile, he's like running around like a kid, like a 5-year-old kid, like just joyfully, blissfully running around. I'm like, So you think nothing happened? I'm just curious because you seem completely blissed out. And he's like, well, maybe something did happen. So then I get into this book.
Yep.
And
which is by
the Body Diva by Mary Schutan, and she was telling me it basically is talking about having a conversation with your body and understanding what's going on, which is something that I've done in the past but haven't done with this neck and foot injury. So I did it, and I had like major ahas, like major explosive insights, like to the point that my body was like shaking. There was so much energy going through it. So it's real for me. Try it Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at 7:30 to 8. I know that Beth said that she felt like an energy, and there's just like you, I had this deep sense of serenity and peace, which I don't think I've ever felt that much serenity and peace in my life. It was so profound to feel that. So, highly recommend. Yeah, so that was my experience with my will being thy will. Like I just totally surrendered into what was happening in the universe, and I had all sorts of traumas from the past that went in and then came out, which is what I think they're supposed to do. You'd probably know a lot from your body healing work. So, anyways, that was my experience. So we had a very different kind of experience. Mine was light. Yours was fire and smoke, but similar.
Grounding. Very, very grounding, I would say.
Yeah.
So rather than being spun up, I'm spun down, connected into the earth. The meditation, the experience was in the vapor caves, in the earth. Feet is on the earth. I'm just plugging into that power of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And for me, it's the power of light and just the excitement and energy. But then weirdly, there's a serenity in there that actually, I shouldn't say it's the first time. The very first time was with my guru and teacher, Nataji, where it was the first time I'd ever experienced silence. So I should actually retract my statement and say that is the first time I've ever, and it was like for 2 seconds. And I didn't even know that state existed. And after these meditations, thanks to a lot of the work that I did from Nataji, that I kept on practicing this meditation that he gave me, I was able to find a really deep sense of peace. It was just so unbelievable. Yeah. But I don't know if it's grounding. I don't know how to describe it. So,
don't know.
Yeah.
On that note, we have you shifting like a typewriter off to your right. Can we shift you back to your left? Just have you centered.
better? Okay, good. How about that?
Yes,
Typewriter.
much better.
I guess it's the energy flowing around. I guess I am ungrounded. Maybe I need to. I was going to take a walk today around nature so I can get grounded. So,
And if you can, put your feet in the water.
yeah, that's a good idea. I actually took a shower before working out, which is kind of a seemingly stupid thing, but I thought, I don't care. I'm just going to I'm so cold and I can't warm up. And I think I needed to have that water to just calm everything down. So that helped. And then I went
You know,
outside and put my feet on the warm earth. That helped. But I think I need more.
yes. Or you can do as I've been known to do. I haven't done here. I'm looking outside at the lawn, which is getting creative out there. But laying down on the earth and just
Mm,
feeling the earth hold you and just being nourished and recharged. It's one of my favorite things to do in the summer. Is take a little time every day or every few days to just lay down and be on the earth, just
mm,
physically skin touching the earth. It's so, so good.
mm. So what's coming up for you when you tune into this grounding presence and if this is a um, what is it called? The something ceremony, the smoke. What is it called?
Sweat lodge
Sweat
ceremony.
lodge ceremony. And I think
Or
that
you could
those.
call it a vapor cave ceremony in
Okay,
this case, but yeah.
and it's meant for clarity, right?
Well, it's meant for cleansing, it's
Mm-hmm.
meant for prayer, it's meant really big time for healing. And I went into it so you go in with intention
Mm-hmm.
and so I had my own private intention. Jessica had her intention. About a third or halfway through, I don't know if struggling is the right word. My mind is bouncing from one pray for this person, pray for that person, and I'm like trying to do like a meta kindness or a meta love meditation, praying out in concentric circles. And then I said, you know what would be really cool? I said, why don't I just pray for everybody who listens to the show?
Oh,
And I
that's
spent the
nice.
second half of the event praying for everybody who listens to the show because, I mean, that's why I do this.
What?
And God, it felt good.
Mm,
It felt so good. And what Kenny Frost, the Ute elder who runs it, says, he says that the Ute elders would never pray for themselves, and that what would you call it? The medicine men would never pray for themselves because if the medicine man prays for somebody else, then the medicine man can be rest assured that somebody is praying for him or her.
oh, interesting. So the reciprocity thing.
Yeah, and I had never thought about it that way. And I certainly do believe in connecting yourself and do believe in praying yourself for yourself. I see that as a great thing. But the concept of just really belting it out for others,
Mm-hmm.
the drums going, you're in chants, I'm chanting. I don't know what I'm chanting, but it's like it's chanting me, and it just sounds so so good. Um, that was just fun praying for others in that sweat ceremony. And the sweat is we hydrated all week, drank a lot beforehand. I've never experienced water pouring off of my body that fast. It was as if a faucet was turned on. And Jessica's somebody who hates sweat,
Oh,
uh, hot, sticky, and personal space and other people's sweat. And
right.
she was doing it too, which was really really cool. And
Yeah.
she's never experienced sweat like that before, but it just felt so cleansing and
Yeah.
grounding and I don't have a word for it, Mother Earthy.
Yeah, that's nice. It's when I do hot yoga, which I do, probably about once a week, it just feels very cleansing. Like I'm taking every toxin in my body and I'm just giving a chance for it to let go in the easiest way by just sweating it
Yeah.
out. So I think it's like toxic thoughts, toxic things that I ate, toxic whatever. I just let it all let go. And it's funny because one of the in the heartfulness meditation, there are three parts. One of them is a prayer, where you start the beginning of your meditation with this prayer, and then you start the end of your day with this prayer. And then the other is a cleansing meditation where you imagine you have smoke coming out from your tailbone all the way up to your head. And it's the intention of this meditation is to cleanse it may not be samskara, which is, this like deep rooted patterns, karmic patterns. This is more like stuff you just picked up during the day, right? Like you met some snarky person where you're getting a coffee and it kind of ruffled your feathers, or, you got into an argument with your loved one and it kind of ruffled your feathers, or, you just stubbed your toe and you're upset. So you basically just imagine saying, when you're sitting in this meditation, please remove all the complexities and impurities within my body. And then you just imagine smoke coming out from your tailbone all the way from your head. And you do it for about 15 minutes. You sit on the cushion and you do it at the end of the day, as a way of releasing energy that's not yours, which I know the two of us probably have a lot of those issues because they're so sensitive. And then to also not build up any more karmic residue from your unconscious actions, which I'm guilty of. So it's basically releasing all that occurred during a day, so that when you're with your loved ones, so this may be something that you do right before you walk inside your house, or it may be something that you do before you interact with your loved ones, so that when you're interacting with them, you're not taking all the garbage from the workday and whatever, the drive, and thrusting it on your family. Yeah, gifting it onto your family, creating more karma, bad karma with your actions. You basically cleanse yourself. But it's interesting because it is using a smoke-oriented technique. So you do that for 15 to 20 minutes, and the only thing that you do in addition, it's super simple, right? The very thing that you do afterwards is just you imagine, because you have released all this stuff, right? Like you released a whole bunch of stuff during your steam meditation, hot, what is it called again?
Sweat
lodge, that you just imagine white light coming into, like, in front of you and just shining in every cell of your body and replacing what was there with white light. And then you go and have your day, have dinner. And he said, think about it. Like when we don't do the cleansing and we eat dinner, our digestion is affected by all the things that happen during the day. And our digestion is affected by, or our interactions with others are affected by what happened during the day. So cleansing is kind of your own kind of personal sweat lodge before you go home. I love that idea. And it's so similar to the thing that you were doing, which I just think is incredible.
Very cool. And a similar technique, and we have it in our morning routine. I was talking with Dawson about it today. This wouldn't be cleansing the day, but this is more of a general cleansing, is to get up and as part of your morning routine, do some EFT tapping.
I like that too.
To peel away layers of the onion, for a good Buddhist term, peel away the obscurations. So the things that are causing us to see the world as grayer than they are, to keep us heavier than we have to be. And so if you each morning, as part of that morning routine, you're peeling another layer and you're peeling another layer, then you just start to get lighter and lighter. Or like you're saying, if you are continuously being dumped on by the day, then you are maintaining your level rather than getting heavier and heavier. And then, like you're saying, passing that on to others as well.
Right. Let's show people how the EFT works, because I don't think everyone knows it, but it's tapping. I don't know which one you've learned. I've learned that you tap here. So even though, and what the other thing I heard, which I love too, is that what happens, I talked to a woman who does dieting, and she was saying that oftentimes what we do when we get home from those situations is we eat. We're trying to self-soothe because there are emotions that we don't want to experience, or things that happen during the day that we haven't quite reconciled in our bodies and minds. So the way of reconciling it is tapping or meditating or something, or this cleansing meditation. But how did Dawson show me what Dawson showed you?
So Dawson didn't do EFT tapping with me today, although we talked about a lot of studies, and his book has a lot of studies on how you can truly transform your life and your energetic state through EFT tapping. The version that I use is kind of the Michael tweaked version of things. I tend to geek out on this stuff. And so first off, when I do tapping, to me, it's the opposite of positive thought movement. It's the opposite of positive psychology. What I want to do is short out any negativity in the body. So I want to look for the absolute most negative thing that I can get my hands on. Right. So whatever's your greatest fear, worry, or concern, I don't know, let's say that you're afraid of I don't know, something financial. You're
Right.
terrified that you're not going to be able to pay the bills, and you're going, I'm really worried I'm not going to be able to pay the bills. I'm really worried I'm not going to pay the bills. So what's the scariest thing? Well, the scariest thing is I'm not going to be able to pay the bills, and then I'm going to be out on the street.
Right.
So, okay, what is that on a fear level of 0, no fear? 10, you're going to jump out of, as I like to joke, a first story window and go running and screaming down the road. What number is it? And I'm hoping that it's at least a 7, if not an 8, 9, or 10.
Right.
The higher the number, the better. So you say, well, if I'm honest, if I say I'm terrified, I'm going to lose my home, that would be an 8 or 9. Great, let's start there. I put a statement similar to what Dawson and Nick Ortner use. I love myself completely and fully, even though I'm terrified I'm going to run out of money and be out on the streets.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I'm terrified I'm going to run out of money and be out on the streets. We want it to be very emotional trigger. Then
Right.
I go after 8 different points.
Okay.
Karate chop point, you
Right.
tap with several fingers on the bottom of your hand, and I like to make the fingers as if they're little hammers.
Mm-hmm.
And so you tap right in, you go from there, and I'll explain more about this, to up and between the eyes, just above the eyes. You tap there with one finger on each side. Then just to the outside of the eyes on your orbitals there, right before the soft of the eye, of course. Centered just beneath the eye. Then center of your lip, just below your nose. Then center of your chin. Then about an inch apart from where your collarbones come together. This is also called your thymus. And then 2 to 3 inches below your armpit. I call this wings. Now, how I do this that's a little bit different is I try to get people to pop, which means instead of going through this rapidly, I have you stay on a particular point. You're going to repeat it in your mind at least 3, 4, 5 times, maybe longer. If you feel an emotion coming up, you stay on that spot for a while. Let the emotion come out. What we're doing is we're tapping on an acupressure point. The body goes, ah, good. At the same time, we're giving it a negative emotion. Ah, freak out. The combination of good and freak out together shorts it out. It clears it from your system. So you go through at least 3, 4, 5 times repeating that statement. I love myself completely and fully, even though I'm afraid that I may run out of money and lose my home, or terrified I may run out of money and lose my home. And at some point, you may feel emotions start to come up. Stay on that point, see what comes up. Then you finish through a cycle. You ask yourself what the number is. If the number's down around 2 or 3, you're good. If the number's still high, you can tap on that point, tap on that again. However, if a specific emotion came up, let's say you're doing, I'm terrified I may run out of money and lose my house. And then you realize, oh my God, what I'm really scared about is this big deal coming up. I haven't been thinking about it. I've been pushing it down. I'm terrified about this big deal. Go tap on that for another cycle. So you're peeling away layers of the onion. Something comes up, you tap on that. Something else comes up, you tap on that. I would say do that at least 2, 3 times each morning. Before you get started, you feel lighter, you feel more on fire, and you're starting to remove any negativity that's holding you down. Again, the big thing to me is look for the most negative clearing statement, the biggest trigger. Let's get to the real core of things. If you're afraid you might not make the bills, what's the real fear behind it? If you're afraid about your health, what's the real fear behind it? Get at the deepest, ugliest, darkest thing that you can, and then stick on it and be willing to follow through. And if you feel icky in the process, that's okay. You're clearing. Afterwards, you'll feel much, much better.
Yeah, it's almost like a detox. I had someone who, 2 different instances. I had one person who is in the Newark school district, and it was during a time where there is gun violence. This is the very first time there is gun violence in school, or very in the early stage of that. And students would come in and they'd have to go through a metal detector, and because of the gun violence that was in the school. And so it really freaked out this one client of mine who is a teacher and having to deal with that every single time, like thinking that I could die because there are people who are carrying guns into the school. So we'd have her tap every single morning. And then finally, over time, her system kind of calmed down. And I had another guy who had a boss who was bipolar, and he would come in and one day and he would just scream at him all the time. You're so stupid. You don't know what you're doing. Maybe he was borderline, I'm not sure, but he would just yell and scream about how stupid and worthless and idiotic this guy was, and his confidence had just like sunk down to the ground, and he wanted to get promoted, and he just felt like, oh my gosh, I will never get there with this gentleman. And so every morning before he got into the office, I would have him tap. And he said what would happen, he said, it's the weirdest thing because I thought you were crazy, CJ, and I was really resistant to doing it. But after the first week, I started finding myself getting calmer. And by the second week, I would just go in and he would be screaming at me, and I would just be looking at him like, okay, like he wasn't taking any of it on. And by actually a couple months, he got promoted. So,
Woohoo!
yeah, it's kind of crazy. It's crazy how this stuff works, right?
So when you wake up in the morning, what a great thing to do is, first, I believe, go to a place of gratitude, go to a place of appreciation, and you can do a couple minutes of a heart math meditation, heart coherence meditation, of breathing in and out from the heart, putting your hands over your chest or over your heart, and then ask yourself, what am I feeling? Am I feeling anxious? Am I feeling nervous? Am I feeling afraid? Am I feeling upset? And then go to that and tap it away. There's no need for you to go through the day anxious, worried, concerned, or afraid, like in this case, that your boss is going to yell at you. Let's get the nervous system detuned so you're not sensitive to that. And then you can be kind of looking at this guy. And maybe the guy who's screaming at you goes, he's not yelling back. She's not yelling back. I'm being heard.
Right.
I like this guy.
I have no idea. He's just like, well, yeah, this guy. Yeah, maybe I have no idea what created that. And the guy who I coached has no idea. He just knew that, like, his boss would kind of have a tantrum, and then he'd listen and go, okay, here's what I think we need to do. So I think it was just this calming presence that I think you're right, probably being heard, and a calming presence and the sense of like, okay, someone has my back here. This guy's listened to me. He's calmly, listened and appreciated my problem, has come up with a resolution and solution, which when you're in the fight or flight, you can't come up. It's really, really hard to come up with a solution. But because he was just in this Zen place, he was able to come up with a solution. So, yeah, there's so many different ways. EFT. I have one other thing that I was thinking about you this morning because I was writing about dropping off my son last August. And do you remember when we both interviewed that gentleman who was talking about manifesting and how during the eclipse, there's like the triumvirate of like all the planets aligning to make
Michael Lennox.
Michael Lennox. Yeah, that whatever you were wishing. And he had three categories: creativity, I think power, and I can't remember the other one. Creativity, power, and do you remember the other one?
I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
I'll need to go back and listen myself.
Yeah, so he had three areas, and his request is during the eclipse that you get very clear about what you want in those areas. And so mine were like, to have to let so and things that you want to let go of. So I wanted to let go of a sense of scarcity. I wanted to let go and lean into my power and find my voice and my power. And I wanted to, I can't remember, and then I wanted to move to creativity through the heart. And then that's what I want, and then I wanted to focus on fun and freedom and meaning. And those were like, that's how I wanted to lead. I wanted to lead through my heart and lead through love. And it's weird because I feel like being super clear with that in August. And I can look back through the course of my, like, I don't know, less than 12 months, and a lot of those things have shifted. It's pretty phenomenal. I would encourage you to look at the things that you wrote down because I was like, whoa,
Will
that
do.
was
And
good.
you just reminded me, I'm doing the math here, and this show will come out, I believe it's on June 22nd, really goes live the evening of June 21st. June 21st, to me, is one of the most important days of the year. That's solstice.
Ah.
And solstice is always a big time of intention, a big time of shift. The earth literally comes to a giant halt, screeching halt in one direction, like a bungee jumper right at the bottom of the jump, and then starts to pull back in the other direction. And
Mm.
so setting intentions, if you're listening to this, go back, check out Dr. Michael Lennox's interview and set your intentions for the next 6 months or the next year ahead. Because what you think about, you bring about, and what seeds you plant when you're listening to this show right now, like CJ's talking about 8, 10 months later, they've come to fruition. That's what's going to take place
Hmm.
because the earth is literally starting a mega shift just at the very moment you're listening to this next week.
Mm. Okay, let's have an action item that next week we get a sense of what ours are. Let's get clear with
Okay.
what ours are, and I'm going to think about what my I don't know if I want to do updates to the other one, or I'm not sure. What do you think Michael would say, Michael Lennox? Would he say just do updates to creativity, power, and leadership? I think those were the three. It was something about the eclipse happening in Leo.
I could, until I go back and listen, I could not even pretend to put words in, he's a genius, into his mouth. I wouldn't even take a guess. Maybe we need to have him back on for the solstice.
We
I'm going to have
should. Yeah, that'd be
to.
fun to just say it's been a year. Oh, that'd be fun. Have him
So,
on. Have him on.
all right, I'll see what we can do here. So, but so next week we'll talk about what seeds we're planting. I
Yeah.
think that's fantastic, and we get to think about that. And I always go out on solstice. Used to be taking photos. I've kind of not fully rested the camera, but I haven't been as neurotic about my sunrise and sunset photos over recent years. But I will at least be out on the trails, giving prayer, in prayer, giving thanks, connecting to the earth, connecting to the inner wisdom inside of me, and giving a lot of thanks, gratitude, and prayers for this next time period ahead. Because to me, it's so important, and solstices are a you blink, you've gone another 6 months. You blink, you've gone another 6 months.
So true.
Where are you? What's going on? What has shifted? What is transformed? I mean, our lives are radically different now than they were at winter solstice just 6 months ago when we were in Emerald Isle. Jessica wasn't doing so well there. It's the darkest time of the year, and that's a time to really draw inward. Now is a time of creation.
Mm,
So for this hemisphere anyway,
yep.
other hemisphere, it's a time of hibernation, a time of drawing in.
Right.
So it's really, really cool punctuation points.
That will be
So,
fun. We get to
woohoo.
play.
So the last note that I have, I got to see if we covered everything on your list.
I think so.
Um, is we have our magical morning routine on sale. If you're listening to this for just a few more days at our intro price, if you're listening to this and you catch it right away, come on over to inspirenationuniversity.com, type in the coupon code MAGIC40, and get 40% off. It's videos to guide you through step by step, helping you to get up early in a kind, gentle, easy, good way to build a foundation that works for you and you specifically in a very kind, gentle, easy, good, to set your energy up for positivity, for happiness, for gratitude, for woohoo throughout the day and really change everything. Then there's structure, organization, prioritization, helping you to actually follow through and get the things done that you want to get done. And what's special about this program is it's for spiritual seekers. So the inner
Yay.
is the most important thing. It's not oh yeah, and we'll give you a tiny bit of this over here. It's all about connecting. It's all about going on the inside. So again, that's inspirenationuniversity.com. That's our, I'd say, shameless plug. It's been the most important thing in Jessica and I in our lives has been setting ourselves up for success in the morning. With all of my coaching clients, it's setting ourselves up for success in the morning. It's the drummer, as CJ typically has her drum, for the whole day. She's like, drum, drum. Anybody say drum? For the whole day ahead. I'm seeing if she pulls out the drum on
Yes,
cue
I
here.
am playing. I'll play the drum. So,
Oh, that reminds me of last night. Oh,
oh, yay. Well, I think that the nice thing about doing this morning routine too is that you're going to be in community too, which is such a lovely thing. There's something about being in community. I know from the kirtan is that there's just something about when everyone is kind of directed toward their center and aligned, that there's something magical that happens as a result of all those people. The whole 1+1 = 3 thing happens. I just have seen
absolutely.
it so many times. So that's another benefit that I think you'll probably get from doing the morning
It's cool,
group.
and that we have free live classes for people in the program every other week. But yeah, I noticed something, CJ, when we said free live classes for the automatic writing program, it actually scared people off. Not that people were
Oh,
afraid of being seen, because we do it on Zoom. You can show yourself and not show yourself. But it's not like a Facebook Live. It's actually, a group you get together. But people were afraid, what if I don't keep up? And I'm going to have to come in at a certain time. What if I'm behind? And not understanding what we meant by free class is we'll have a theme of the day, and then you can bring all your questions, but there is no keep up. You go at your own
right.
pace.
And come and do
Don't
what you
worry.
want. Yeah, I think that's the
Bingo. So
best
I
way
was
to do
scaring
it.
people off who are going, oh, I don't need no more pressure. So free live classes, good thing.
Right. Just come with your
Come,
questions.
bingo,
Yeah.
bingo, bingo. So we'll have that. We'll have our Facebook group for people, and it's since we came from Hawaii, at least most recently, Ohana, which means family. You get a family to learn and grow with through this process.
Beautiful. Yay. Okay, how did they find out more about this program? I know that there's
InspireNationUniversity.com and simply click on the magical morning routine for busy spiritual seekers.
okay.
Again, InspireNationUniversity.com. And don't forget, you've got to punch in Magic 40, MAGIC 40, to get 40% off. That's our introductory price, which I think is for 10 days. So you'll have, if you hear this, it's for the next 2 or 3 days when you hear this, if you hear it right away.
Excellent. But I thought you said it was free. So it's not free. It is free?
No,
It's
no,
not
the
free.
program isn't free, but there are classes that we include with it that you don't have to pay anything
Ah,
additional. The
okay, got it.
classes are included.
Got it. Okay, excellent. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to hear about your morning group.
So you might have to come join us, CJ.
I know. I may have to. It'd be fun.
Woohoo!
Woohoo! Woohoo!
All right, that's all I've got from here. We'll discuss smoke and forest fires next week. Although let us send prayers for. I want to send prayers for everybody, because there's volcanoes going off, there's earthquakes going off, there's all sorts of stuff going on in the world, and in the Southwest we've got fire after fire.
Oh,
So I want to send prayers out for this is kind of a Mother Earth prayer, for Mother Earth to cool down, for a little bit of rain to be brought to the Southwest, a little bit of cooling to be brought to places that need it, a little bit of calming for everyone and everything that needs it. And let us, for those areas that need it, bring in the rain.
woohoo!
Woohoo!
Yes, I
Hey,
love
hey,
that.
hey.
It means so much to me that you're listening to the show and would love your support in any way by giving me comments below, or to subscribe to the show or share the show with friends. Thank you again for your support. Love and blessings.